And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Behind the Tool Belt, episode 235. Today, we have another special guest with us. Stay tuned. We will be back after our short intro from our sponsors.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer.
You got two types of customers, no matter what kind of business you are. Ones that know you and ones that don't. How do you stay in touch and grow those people that know you? More importantly, how do you get that message out in front of those people that don't know you?
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody's having a great Wednesday and enjoying this wonderful weather now that we're over that heat wave that we recently experienced. We have another awesome guest, my friend Mike Wynegar with Local IQ. That's a little bit of a tricky last name there, Mike. And I didn't want to botch it up, and of course I did a little bit there. But Mike, my man, what's happening? How are you?
Ty, appreciate you having me on. And it is a tricky name. It's always been a tricky name. It's Wynegar, so it's all good. I've gotten Wagner, Wynegar, Wynegar. It's all good. But glad to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. I love what you're doing. I was smiling the whole way through the intro, just at the advertisements and, just where you've brought this. So congrats to you. And again, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming back on the show. And for those of you that don't know, Mike has been on the show before. We were introduced by another acquaintance, David Bruno, who was, and also a team member there over at Local IQ. That's where Mike still resides over there on that team over there. And I think we were at the York Revolution Stadium.
Yeah, we had the round table set up there. That was exciting for me because it was a night at the ballpark. And David had just, I think, recently begun, networking with you and gotten connected. And David, he was always I was always one of his biggest fans. He's worked for me for about 6 years. And I know he's doing well. We still connect, but he was a big part of engaging with you as one of his loyal customers. And I got to witness that the whole way. But yes, it was a great night at the ballpark and got to meet some great staff there as well on your team. So. Yeah,
for sure. We got to do that again sometime, whether it's, we got to go off site and do Behind the Tool Belt here soon sometime.
Absolutely.
Me, you, David, kind of have a little family reunion. Maybe we'll even get Chris Baker on the show, see if he's available.
Yeah. Do you golf?
I do. I pretend to golf.
That's okay. That's okay. That's part of it.
Yeah, so I'm a good pretender. I look really good doing it. Just don't watch me do it.
No matter if it's in a organized scramble or just with some friends, it's always treated as a scramble. We'll play the best ball as we go and have a good time.
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of my favorite ways to play golf is in a 4-man scramble. I tend to be able to pull a little bit of weight, whether I sneak in a long putt here and there, or I'll even get a nice little drive every now and then straight down the fairway we're actually supposed to be.
I'm always equating numbers. The last one I was at, I looked at everybody and I said, hey, look, nobody here is above average golfer by any means, but we're here to have fun. So all you got to do is 25% of the time come through for the team. There's 4 of us, right?
Yes.
Let's own a little bit. I think we were talking about that yesterday when you and I met. I was talking about the getting 1% of 100 people's efforts versus 100% of your own and how much sense that makes. So kind of like in golf, I equated it that way, only in the quarters.
Yeah, I love that. That's actually a great way to look at that stuff too. Golf is definitely is a sport of patience and consistency, and that's perfect metaphors for life in general, right? You need to be very consistent, and you need to learn patience. But I've also learned not to pray for patience because for whatever reason things are presented to you for you. Not necessarily on a silver platter, but things that you may need to have patience with, right? Because I've done that. Like, oh God, please give me, and not that I'm a Bible bumper, but like I need patience right now.
No, completely understood.
I continuously get tested, so I have to work on my patient skills. So that was That was my
Amen. I
point.
can relate to that. And above anything, golf, life, work,
Yes.
personal, everything. You got to be willing to accept some change as it comes along. Be adaptable to change. You know what I mean? And in golf, you kind of figure out. I took my son out for the first time. He doesn't get a chance to golf much. He took me out for Father's Day, and it was just to the driving range. But he actually fell in love with it, I think, and was like, "Why don't we do this more often?" And but he's a former baseball player, so he's got that baseball player swing. But he was willing to listen to some advice I could give, and by no means am I a golf expert, but little bit of wisdom and experience along the way, I can offer some tips, practice what you preach kind of thing. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I suffer from that too. I have played, baseball for most of my, my teenage years up into my early adulthood. And then when that career came to an end, shortly after that, I got into semi-pro softball. So I know all about
transition. Yeah.
Yep. I know all about muscle memory and fatigue, and that I'm okay. I do okay on the front nine, but by the back nine, fatigue starts to set in, muscle memory starts to come back to, old habits and old swings and things like that. And that's where my frustration level usually tends to rise as well too. And that's where I think a 4-man scramble where I'm not getting as many swings in as I need to, because we're all kind of like, okay, that's the best ball. Let's just go with that. So I don't need to hit anymore. You know what I mean? So the fatigue is less likely to set in, and I can usually, get those good shots in more frequently, less, with the less amount of swings that I put in.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly how I describe my most recent, golf ventures. I get out maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I golfed, I was 5th man in my high school team for 1 year. So I did it a lot more back then, but I enjoy getting out, but I had some previous back injuries. So the same as you, I find myself starting to overcompensate on the swing, swinging harder, making little adjustments, losing that muscle memory to compensate or offset the pain. So I couldn't have said it better myself. The same exact scenario for me. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to be out there.
It is fun. It is fun. And I know only from experience, that's why I nailed it, because it's like I know on the back nine, if I'm not pacing myself on the front nine, if I'm just hacking away, I know by the time I get to the back nine, game over for me. I'm just
14th, 15th hole. It's like, I'm just going to ride up to this one. I'll wait till we get within 100 yards.
Right. I don't know if I've ever done that, because my problem is I'm so hard headed. I'm not a quitter. And of course I'm a glutton, and I'm a glutton for punishment.
That's cool. To me, I'm not a quitter either. But when one of my teammates has a 285, 300-yard drive, and I'm like, no, I'm good, bro. I don't need to do that.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Right. All bets are off. Yeah,
right on.
As of right this second. Well, Mike, I know you're the regional director for Local IQ. You got Mike Love Entertainment DJ Services. I know you've been with Local IQ for a long time, and for just a quick synopsis of like what that is and how you got involved with them. Why don't you just give us a quick snapshot of that, and then we can dig into a little bit of like industry trends and future outlooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I work for Local IQ. We're the marketing arm of the USA Today network. We're in over 200 markets across the U.S., and I am personally responsible for most of the properties in Pennsylvania, Lebanon, York, Hanover. Now I have the Beaver County and the Pittsburgh area. We have some other papers scattered in between. And when I say newspapers, those are our properties, but we're a full-scale marketing agency. We're actually one of the top 5 largest digital marketing agencies in the U.S. And just recently, the USA Today became the number 1 source of news and information, taking over NBC, beating out Fox, CNN, and all of those others. So 52% of the American population consumes our content each and every day. My job as the regional sales director for Local IQ is to lead a team of marketing consultants and sales professionals with a suite of print and digital products to help a small business in a local community or a regional business or even on a national level grow their marketing and their database of customers, their overall bottom line. One of the necessary evils of advertising that needs to be done, right? Because not all advertising works. Some work to a certain degree, but I mean, it does all work. Some just works to a different degree than others. It depends on who your audience is. I've been with the company now 9 years. It's the longest amount of time I've spent with one company. I feel absolutely blessed to be in my position where I'm at. I have a marketing and advertising background that goes back to pre-2000, about 1999. I've been in sales and advertising in that vertical alone now, probably for about 20 years. I had a couple stints in between with some other opportunities when I relocated. I was a police officer for a little while, but digital marketing and print marketing has always been my forte. I come from the yellow page side of the business. That's where I spent most of my time. Prior to that, I was working in, if you remember the Nextel cellular phones, the old flip phones and the two-way communication. Well, that was a niche product when it came to this area back in the early 2000s. And I had a successful sales career with that helped catapult me to just growing, networking, meeting the right people. You mentioned my DJ business. I got that job at Nextel without any prior sales experience because I responded to the ad. I was looking for a little more stability. I had a young son that was only 4 years old and, just trying to provide more for my family and grow. And when I walked into the interview, my hiring manager, her name was Angela, she said, "You're the DJ, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And just from the moment on, before it even got into an interview process, I kind of was given the job because of, who they had seen out in the public, what they thought of me and how I would fit in that position. But I'm having a lot of fun here, just helping businesses, truly feeling more like a consultant in all of my situations with my staff. Whereas I've felt pressured to sell in other positions before, with the resources and the backbone and support of data and insights that we have here at USA Today and with Local IQ. Even on a local level, like I said, there's small boutique agencies. There's a lot of things you can do on your own. But I think it's the data, the insights, and the technology and the old, hey, someone else has already dipped their toe in the deep end of the pool, so you don't have to worry about it. Here's what we found, and we can, take this to your market, who that audience looks like, who your customer is. And it's just a lot of fun. Like, I don't feel a pressure to try to sell. Our suite of products speak for themselves for the most part.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of good aspects there, and I don't know if a lot of people identified, but I think when a lot of people think of like USA Today, they think of the newspaper, right? And that was what USA Today was known for, and I don't think anybody quite understood, and I don't know if I understand fully the connection. Like, where is Local IQ just a subsidiary of USA Today, but again, and that's a question you can probably answer later for us. But my point is like, that pivotal point that most businesses need to take. Like, okay, so, USA Today went from, printing, advertising, marketing, and of that nature, which I'm sure they still do, but also transformed into the digital era. And then while you were speaking, you were also talking about, like, at that interview, like, you've already created like that personal persona, that personal brand recognition that people knew you. It's like, oh yeah, you're Mike Love, you're that DJ guy. And because of that, and I want to talk about like the importance, not maybe right this second, but later on in our conversation, the importance of, personal brand and even just having, in today's day and age, a social media presence. Okay. But before we get there, let's talk about some of the transitions that USA Today had to do, and how, in conjunction, did that work with like Local IQ? Like, how was Local IQ born or developed, or was it a different company that USA Today purchased? Give us how that whole transition happened.
No, that's a great question. And I'll give you the quick 10,000 foot overview and the Cliff Notes version of it. So the USA Today, Local IQ is the marketing arm of the USA Today. The USA Today brand is owned and under the Gannett Corporation umbrella. So Gannett's the name that's on my pay stubs, right? Because that out of McLean, Virginia, that's the company that runs the whole show. So underneath that umbrella, they've made purchases over the years where some companies, they're merging with other companies and growing. That's kind of what Gannett did. Gannett started to make some purchases and mergers with companies. And we've been blessed and fortunate enough over the past several years to not fall off too much, where some companies, they get bought out or merge with someone else. Nextel I was talking about, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for Nextel partners here, and I worked for Nextel proper down in Florida when I had relocated. But then nobody knew that they were going to merge with Sprint, and it was going to become Sprint Nextel, and the NASCAR brand. Everything changed then, right? So it's kind of like the same thing, whereas Gannett's made these purchases and smart business decisions to become one of the top digital marketing agencies. We have other agencies out there that are doing marketing efforts for other businesses. And those businesses and individuals might not know it, but we might be the backbone behind that. There's over 1,000 different agencies across the U.S. that we actually are behind the scenes, whether it's white labeled or they're utilizing our network of services and data insights, et cetera. So pretty much it was about 7 years ago, I guess, maybe 6-7 years ago, when Gannett made the purchase of our local newspapers. We were under the Media One Pennsylvania umbrella, the Texas, New Mexico newspaper conglomerate. And I've seen a couple brand shifts with that alone, like our digital providers. My staff and I have lived through 3 different mergers, so to speak. And change is tough sometimes. And sometimes, and I saw some good people, some leaders ahead of me, they weren't willing to stick around. And it's okay for whatever decision. I think everybody's doing very well there. I really didn't have a choice or have anywhere else I wanted to go. I was just like, hey, I was recruited to come here. I was actually recruited away to come here as a digital sales manager when we were Media One PA. And they made a position for me when they realized, when I said, look, income and all that, without getting into details, this is what it would take for me to leave, because I'm happy where I'm at. It's challenging, it's tough, but I'm in a good spot,
Yeah.
And I was trying to climb the corporate ladder. Anyway, Media One PA made me an offer. I came in and I took a pay cut, and I was willing to withstand that. I've always been a risk taker, and I've done those things before in life where you take some chances. Sometimes if no risk it, no biscuit. That's an old cliche statement, but no risk and no reward. I've always been confident in myself and those unbelievable family members and support staff that I have personally. And even my previous mentors, I trust what I've learned and taken away from them, that I'll always land on my feet. You know what I mean? Some way or another, I'll be okay. And because God has me too, you know what I mean? I'm good. So I've been blessed to be here. I've grown from a digital sales manager to a York sales manager to becoming the vice president of my position now, where, some things have happened. COVID set back a lot of things. Some big changes happened then. We've gone to virtual environments with still some local offices open, but my whole staff, it's a big change for us, not being mandatorily required to come into an office. That takes a unique individual, for example. So, but we've made it. We've tread water, and we're above the grade. And, we talk about newspaper. Listen, I said earlier, all advertising work to some degree. Some work better than others, but newspaper has a specific audience, right? It's not going to be your Gen Zs and your Gen Alphas, and it probably is not going to be most of your millennials, but it will be all of your baby boomers. It's going to be some Gen Xers. It's going to be people that have disposable income, higher household income. Most are college educated. They have disposable income. So that's a specific audience. But at the same time, we have newspaper.com sites as well. So some people always, you had mentioned earlier, the USA Today. Yeah, that's what the USA Today is famous for. You ever stay at a hotel, you open up your door in the morning, there it is, right at the foot of the door, right? So now what they did is they made these purchases of all these newspapers across the U.S. So the York Daily Record, the York Sunday News, the York Dispatch, the Hanover Evening Sun, the Lebanon Daily News, the Chambersburg Public Opinion. Those are all my papers. When I say mine, just those that I'm responsible for with my sales staff here locally. But I have staff that we can market, in South Carolina, for example, in Florida, in California. So it's great. I love what we do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question completely, but that's kind of full circle where we came to.
Yeah, no, you did. Full. I like how you gave us the full synopsis of how that all came about and like how it was born. And I'm probably going to pronounce this the Gannett company.
Gannett. It's okay. It's like Wynegar and Wynegar,
Yeah. Right. So the Gannett company, it's like, cause I like to watch things, and I study other businesses. I study people like Henry Ford's, the Thomas Edison's, the Dale Carnegies of the world, right? Like
Sure.
from 1901 to 1927, that supposedly is like the great generation, right? The greatest generation. And I study a lot of the Winston Churchill, like all of the great people, business owners, entrepreneurs, the greatest minds of our time. Most of them came from like that era. And like when it comes to like big businesses that go in and absorb other companies and stuff, that's them, like listening to those people and watching other companies grow like that. That's them evolving to the times, the change, right? Like how many businesses that were around for 100 years and all of a sudden just kind of went away? How many businesses have been around for 4 years and are no longer here because of either technology changes that they didn't or weren't willing to adapt, or surround themselves around people that were smarter than them in eras or areas that that is the way that the industry is shifting or changing to. And that's how I kind of see like the USA Today, pivoted from like print advertising and marketing and newspaper and stuff to the newspaper.com stuff, but then got even more deeper on that where it comes to like social media, websites, targeted emails, geo-targeting, geofencing, like
Evolution, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The evolution. Yes. That was the word I was looking for. Perfect, Mike. So the evolution of USA Today and the Gannett, what was it? The Gannett company.
Yeah.
So that always interests me. That's why I asked you about like the USA Today, the local IQ, like how did that form? And you gave me the perfect synopsis with the Texas and New Mexico company, how they, bought them, and then the local newspaper companies here.
Yeah. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm just saying, without working at that C-level executive office where those decisions are made, I just know from looking at it and from what I've embraced and been taught that, the company made a decision that they didn't want to fold. They wanted to have foresight and be a leader, a continued leader. And they saw the progression and the growth of what technology and marketing and things can do. And that's how it's evolved. So
I love it. I love it. That's a great story. I'd like to dig into it a little more at some other time and really find out like, who was the brainchild behind that and who was making the decisions and why did they come up with those decisions? Because honestly, when it comes to business and making decisions, marketing is one of those really big things of like, man, I hope this works, because like you said earlier, all marketing works to a certain extent, but it's based upon like, what market are you targeting? What channels are you going to use to get there to reach these people? And then how many touch points are they going to get? And then always the magic question is how much money is it going to cost me and how long is it going to take? So
that's it. And one of the other questions about that, just to add in there, that was a mentorship thing that I learned. So that statement, you've heard Mr. Bruno say it 100 times, and it makes me feel good that David's taken some things away that I learned. I talked to you yesterday about the art of duplication. Right? Yes. Finding one or two people that do and will do the exact same thing, say the thing, in their own way, but do what you do to be successful. And that helps. So one of those statements was all advertising works to some degree. Some just work better than others. And then it's because of this, right? Who are you trying to target, et cetera?
You got two
and the other
types
one
of
is in
customers,
business,
no
bottom
matter what kind
line,
of
business
business
every
you are.
day is two types. Ones that know you and ones that don't. How do you stay in touch and grow those people that know you, maintain them? And then more importantly, how do you get that message out in front of those people that don't know you? Is it word of mouth? You mentioned social earlier. Out of sight, out of mind, because it's gone from, in the last 20 years, I know you're aware of this, but it's gone from having about 3 to 5 forms of traditional media, TV, radio, billboard, right? Newspaper, you name it. And then maybe a little bit of internet. Now we've got social, yard signs, various search engines all over the place. We got targeted email. We got direct mail. We've got social media marketing. We've got pay-per-click. We've got SEO, right? You got video. It's everything. So it's being in front of that customer, that potential customer, the next time he or she is actually looking, right? At the top of the awareness funnel, or are they ready to buy? You got to be in the game. Got to be visible.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing too. I think that there's I guess there's a difference between like the market and the brand. Like if you don't have a brand, like what are you marketing? And that's kind of always been my philosophy of like certain things that you do isn't necessarily marketing. It's more so a touch point for a brand awareness, that omnipresence, whether it be from like billboards to yard signs, truck wraps, like more traditional things, I think are still useful today. Like you need them. So then you can market your business. So give us a real good, clear cut impression between the difference between branding and marketing, because I think that's a misconception a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, the best way I would describe it, because brand image is everything. That brand image that is imprinted on somebody's brain is critical, or whether they hear it. Because if I say to everybody right now, you tell me the name of the advertiser, and all I got to do is say, I'm loving it. Boom. You picture
McDonald's.
golden arches right away. It's McDonald's,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's that simple. And I know McDonald's is the 800-pound gorilla in the fast food industry, but the same as Google. Everybody knows what that G is and the color schemes that they use. So your brand is everything. Your brand doesn't have to say, hey, we've got a customer appreciation special this weekend, or it doesn't have to say, get $1,500 off MSRP on this brand new Chevy, whatever it is. It doesn't have to say that. The brand just has to be seen for people to have, I call it pinging the limbic, right? The limbic region of your brain is that emotional part of your brain. And, they see that. Could be color schemes. It could be a lot of things. I'm going to throw a free plug to somebody out there. I always see it when I'm traveling west. Your brand is what it is. It's fantastic. We can talk about it all day. You've done a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Ever drive down the road and see a billboard that's just red and then it's got white font in it and all it says is, Steve Rice or whatever, criminal, that's all they do.
Yeah.
Criminal attorney. It's pretty simple. How about IHateStevenSinger.com? I hate Steven Singer. He's one of the biggest jewelry store salesmen there is, right?
Yeah.
To hear. But it's catchy. It's got that brand. So it's lasting. Marketing is, hey, I need to market my business to some people because I need customers. I mean, I need to grow it so I can get to a brand image that is recognized. And then I start to be able to, have the entire neighborhood or an area recognize my brand because someone else down the street had work done and they saw the yard sign. And then all of a sudden they see a billboard on 83. They're online doing some just casual browsing and boom, there's a little online display ad that just has the brand and what they do. And then they're online and maybe they hear a little jingle on their Spotify playlist, right? That's branding. Marketing is, hey, I got an event coming up just with a budget here, and I don't do everything consistently, but I really want to plan for this because we're going to be releasing this new product and this new service, and hopefully I can get people to attend, or hopefully I can get people to sell these quick because it's going to be the make or break of my Q2, right, or my upcoming Q3. I don't know if I'm answering that properly, but marketing to me is basically creating an immediate to a potential long-term awareness because I need to market my product and service. I need to put it out there. I need you to buy it. I need to service your contracts here. Whereas a brand's pretty much been already established. They are still behind the scenes cranking the wheel, to make things continue to grow. It's kind of like when you're successful and you get to a certain point, right? Whether you're living in the city on fixed income, or whether you're living in the suburbs in a $300,000 home with great household income, you all have bills, and you learn to live at a certain lifestyle if you're up here. So if your job changes, if your business doesn't thrive and you have to cut back, you're going to have some challenges too, even though you're in that home. And we see that all the time. And I'm not saying that that's, they're not as equal to people that are, not as blessed to have those kinds of things. That's not what I was trying to say there. What I'm just trying to say is as a business, you have expectations. You've got a brand, you develop that brand. You still must continue to make that brand stay top of mind, right?
Relevant.
And be out there and relevant. That's the word I like. Relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. For the longevity. And, I love your explanation of branding and marketing. Marketing is like a product or a discount or whatever that is on those more so social media, internet but the power of brand, and I don't think people understand this enough, is that if you brand yourself well enough, like they're not searching in the industry we're in the roofing industry, like we don't necessarily want them searching roofer near me. We want them going and looking straight for TC Backer. Like we don't even want to give our worthy rivals the opportunity for them to search roofer near me. We want to show up in enough places, right? Whether it's on their phone, when they're on the crapper, or, when they're watching TV, or if they're watching YouTube channels or streaming and all these things, like we want to pop up in these places. Now, when it comes to marketing, and let's just say mass email, right? Yes, that's a touch point, but how can they get a hold of us? How can they get a quote? What services do we offer? And to me, that's like the difference between now we're marketing ourselves. Like these are the products that we offer. This is how you can get a hold of us. And this is how you can get a price, schedule an appointment. So that's marketing. But because of that brand and that omnipresence of all these little subliminal messages all over the place, like that's almost more important than the marketing aspect. Yes, we want them to know how to get a hold of us. Yes, we want them to be able to just straight up Google us, Yelp us, whatever outlet they're using to search for us, if they don't already have our website, if they don't already have our phone number. But the name of the game, at least in the industry that we're in, is that he who gets the most touch points first wins. And that's like the mission and the mindset that we have. Like we need to get our touch points out there. We need to be out in the front of the public's eye before anyone else. Like don't even give anyone else an opportunity or a chance to be looked at.
You just took the hammer out of the tool belt and you just drove in the nail, because that's exactly what it's about. I was going to say, as you're talking there, and you finished because I was just vibing at everything you're saying. It's what we speak. It's the touch points. And that is the difference between the brand. When we mentioned earlier about the I'm loving it, you know what that is. You know what, to the T, you know who that is. And that's our boy, Chris, right? So you just recognize even the local ones. But more importantly, the touch points, you ask the average person or the average business owner, we call it the personal consumer journey. At the end of the day, Ty, you and I, we're both consumers for food, products, services, right? Same kinds of things. How we search might be similar in many ways. It might be different in some as well. The key point that you mentioned are the touch points, though, because right now it's already known, and this is based on studies, Harvard Business Study and other third-party studies done, is that it takes 12 to 16 touch points minimum before someone is even going to react. Because listen, you just mentioned it. The mobile phone, this thing right here has become an extension of our bodies now. I use it for everything. It's my alarm clock. I play a golf game on it. I check my banking on it. I do my browsing, my social media, my calculator. I use it for everything. My GPS, my special discounts at my favorite restaurants, those who have apps. It has everything. But I'm cognizant as a Gen Xer that, hey, put it down and make sure I communicate with humans too. I digress there a little bit. The point I'm making is when I wake up in the morning, I have a routine just like anybody else. My phone's a part of that. I'm going to go to my social media and boom, right there in my Facebook feed, after I catch up for a quick 2 or 3 minutes, I might see a sponsored ad or something that's promoting a product or service. I'm not going to react to that right now because it's just not pinging my limbic, that emotional part of my brain right now. I go on, I flip on the radio while I'm getting ready, Spotify, and then all of a sudden I hear that same business, and then they have an ad on my Spotify playlist. And then as I'm walking out the door, I can see that the TV's on and the wife's getting ready and they're on the local programming. I see another message that goes across the screen. And then I'm in the car and I'm on satellite radio and I don't hear much of it because nobody's really doing too much on satellite radio. But I get to my office and I turn my computer on and boom, as soon as I click on to check ESPN to see, hey, or when are they resuming, the Open this weekend because of the rain delay or whatever. Then I see another ad from the same company. It's these touch points as we go along. I forgot to mention on the way in, I saw the billboard too, right? Or I saw the truck with the logo on the side of the van. It's all of those multiple touch points. And then finally, I'm like, you know what? Man, a storm just went through here. Please, dear Jesus, I hope I'm not forecasting this. But hail just crushed me, right? It crushed my car and it crushed my roof. Who do you think I'm going to pick up the phone or search right away? Right? TC Backer.
Yep.
Right. For me, I'm just saying, as we're talking, this is your platform and your show. So I'm going to give you the plug too. But think about it. The lead in, it showed me everything. The hail. Now I'm not going to call you for my car.
No.
But for my roofing, right? For my car, I'm going to call my insurance agent. And then however that pans out, it pans out. But it's all about the brand. It's about the touch points. Top of the awareness funnel, billboards. We never pull over to the side of the road and, hey, let me write that number down. And that's special. That's a really nice billboard. We don't do that. We just remember seeing it. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I love everything. And I love, this is one of my favorite topics. I think this is why Bruno and I have always hit it off.
Yeah.
Every time we get together, it's always about, brand awareness and then other topics too, and discussions that we have. But let's get super specific here. Like, how important is it to have a social media presence, and what advice would you give someone like me to create one?
So I can tell you this right now. It is absolutely 100% imperative that if you are in business today, that you have a social media presence. And it's gone beyond just having a Facebook business page presence. I mean, we're one of few companies I know, and we don't really get into it too much with people. Like, we're selling advertising on TikTok. You got to be on TikTok now, and there's a demographic for that. And it's a wider one, because there's people like you and I that get on there because we like reels. I like seeing stuff on, maybe conspiracy theories, and another person might like seeing the things on people that are, doing crazy stunts and getting hurt, but there's spots in there for ads, right? It's a huge audience. Kids are on there wanting to see the latest music videos, or, the, hey brother, Tuesday, family friendly stuff. Those of you that know Sketch and follow him online, you'll know that he's developed his own brand. This kid developed his own brand. Tuesday, playing video games. Sorry for cussing, brother. If you guys out there know who Sketch is, look, I'm a 57-year-old grown man, and I'm a fan of this kid's Sketch, because I saw him. He's got a brand. He's got an image. Yeah, man, it's pretty wild. But
yeah. And again, going back to like our golf lessons, life lessons is staying consistent with it. Right. You got to, and, it's like anything else. If you're going to have a social media presence, and my buddy Joe, and I'm going to share something with you guys. My buddy Joe Joseph Hughes, big shout out to him. He is a marketing guy that pertains to the roofing industry, the trades industry. And he sent me this. He's like, Mondays, have a meet the team Monday. Tuesdays, transformation Tuesday. So, do a before and after picture of a house, to keep that consistency, to create that omnipresence. Wednesday, post a review or get a testimonial from, so testimonial Wednesday. Thursday, educate, like do an educational post, whether it's a live video or something recorded, or maybe a local code, or, hey, notify the community that a storm's coming. Hey, be prepared. Get ready for this. Do that. Snow's around the corner. Make sure you put ice in the driveway or up in your gutters to keep your gutters from freezing up, or whatever. Friday could be, highlight a local business on Friday. Saturday, fact. Share a short video answering a question that a prospect, client, or someone else in your market has. Like, what is that question everybody has? Well, go on social media and answer that question. And then Sunday, hey, something fun. Just post something fun with you or your family. And like you said, it's not about just the business page. It's also about the personal page and the personal brand, for the company.
That's right. And I didn't finish answering your question completely, but I love that. Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You go ahead. I want you to go ahead.
Yeah, basically what you said, and there's something going on every day, right? So there's a couple things to that. Number one, it's the engagement. It's always that not everybody's going to see this one, the second day, the third day, or the fourth day, but maybe on the fifth day they do. It's also a necessary evil. We call them spider bots. It's like Google, Facebook. There's algorithms out there that are based on everything that you do, contextually, behaviorally, all of those things. So the end consumer, whether they engage or not, or whether you have a business page and you're not putting out content, if you're not deemed relevant by a non-human entity, you're not going to be exposed or put out there in front of other things. The other thing about social media is they're free pages and there's free accounts to set up. You want to have consistency with them too. The same, I call it the NAP, the same name, address, and phone number on all of your social media pages. Okay. It's got to match, because in the eyes of the search engines, and really the 800-pound gorilla we call Google, like if you have little missing or inconsistencies among what we call your listings, your social media listings, you're going to get like dinged red flags behind the scenes, and you won't be found as relevant to be able to offer that information to you, the consumer, that's wanting that most relevant information. That's why Google does what they do, and that's why they do it the best. We might not agree with them all the time, but social media platforms are free. You need to create profiles on them. And the other thing is, with what your friend was sharing with you and doing that every day, I might not see every one of them, but the key is that we talked yesterday. Would you rather do 100% of your own effort all the time, or maybe getting 1% of 100 people's efforts be better for you, right? Time management, free you up to do other things and help you grow. Meaning that on social media, those things can be shared. There's an option for people just to share that, because, oh my gosh, my cousin Tony needs some work done. And I remember we were just talking about this on the phone this weekend. I'm going to share that with him online, because I just saw this, so that he gets it. Boom. Then he shares it with his wife and maybe some people in his neighborhood. And now we've just gone from something local here to a more regional, or, you know what I mean? Where in another market, you provide that service if it's relevant, or he's taking care of it for his mom here. Look, I think you understand what I'm saying, right? Hopefully the people that are listening do too as well, but it's imperative to have it. It's generally free to set it up. You can put money into it. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can personalize it to show that you've got, this is why you want to do business with us. This is a differentiating factor. I might not have all the marketing dollars in the world, but you find my content engaging and interesting. And oh, by the way, yeah, you're right. My reviews that you're seeing are because I do great quality work. I'm reliable, trustworthy, insured. And how can I help you accomplish something? And that would help the business grow, right? So yeah, you get 100%. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take, number one. So, but you got to have a social media presence, because this phone has taken all the one-to-one interaction away, not away, but put it behind us for that end touch point. Because now I can just browse and see if I can find information on you first. And if somebody says something bad, or you don't exist on social media, or you haven't put a post on since December, and it's now June, right? Probably my limbic is going to be like, I don't feel confident right now. I'm going to look for somebody else.
Right on. Right on. What kept going through my head when you were speaking is like, people go with you because they know you, trust you, and like you. And if you're not on social media, and like you said, like your friend or your aunt is sharing your post and your comment, well, it's like, well, hey, Aunt Susie knows this guy. He just shared it. She must trust him, and then of course, well, if she likes him, I like him.
An automatic confidence factor. Yeah.
Right. So, and the other thing is too, it's like you were talking about the people in the background that are making that machine go, right? Well, it's like we're creating that known presence. We're creating that trust factor. So then an extension of our team goes out to a person's house. Now it's kind of like their job to get them to like us. They need to like you. Necessarily. So there's many facets or many areas or directions that you could look at this know, trust, and like factor. But if you're not out on social media, especially, it could be, the sales consultants, they should be out there promoting the products and the projects that we should do, or have done. It takes more than just like the media team, that
Sure.
we have hired, or Vic sitting in here with John and Skylar and Rocket. It's like it takes the entire team to create that whole omnipresence. And what it can also do too is help you recruit and retain, people into your organizations that are like, hey, I want to be a part of that company. I want to sell roofs too.
Because you create a culture. That's what it is, right?
Yes.
It's exactly. People take ownership of that. Here's a job that my company did. That's why I said earlier that this is, I'm blessed. It's the best job I've ever been in. And I'm so confident. I don't ever feel like I have to sell something to anybody. I really don't, because some will, some won't. So what? Who's next, right? There's other businesses out there that are good. Not everybody wants to buy a Ford. Chevy people don't want to buy a Ford, right? It's the same kind of thing. people don't like Burger King flame broiled. They prefer McDonald's. Or somebody says, no, I'll only eat a hamburger. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other all of the time. But you've got, if you're in the game and you want your company to thrive as an employee, yeah, you got to walk and stick your chest out and be like when my colleagues in the Southeast have a big win with like a Belltone franchise or something like that, man, I'm proud. When the USA Today comes out, and we're just the York Daily Record here, the York Dispatch, the Hanover Evening Sun. And I say that just only because there's major metro markets we're in: Detroit, Indianapolis, Phoenix, right? So when we were just deemed the number one source of news, consume news and content information over all other media outlets, the NBCs, the CBSs, the Foxes, the CNNs, even though I'm in advertising and I don't write articles and my team, like, we don't do the editorial stuff. That's not us. We're marketing. We're talking. That is a big thing where I want to share that on social media and brag a little bit about the company that I work for. And I think that's what you were saying, right?
Yes.
Share that example of that house that we just did.
Yes.
And, the before and after, and how quality that work job, that is, that workmanship. And then let people brag about that and say, yeah, here's my 5-star review. Ty's team was exceptional. They were courteous. They were efficient from beginning to end. Their communication was outstanding. And I would recommend them 10 out of 10 times to anybody. That's the kind of stuff you want to get.
That's just an extension compounding.
I got goosebumps, man.
Me too. I did too. When you were talking about the win that you guys, because that is an amazing achievement, and don't take it lightly, because if it wasn't for your area, they wouldn't be number one. And that's the thing when it goes into team and working cohesively together, even though you may be independent, it takes everybody and everyone's effort to make the whole of the sum great and make it what it is today. And I guess that was the point that I was trying to make, because we've had so many great little conversations. There's so many nuggets. If you really read between the lines of our conversation today, okay, there's so many things that play into how this whole thing works. Yes, we can post things on social media, but if our friends, family, coworkers, co-leaders are not sharing these things, we're missing their people, right? And then if their people are sharing this, and that's kind of that compounding effect that I envision, I'm hoping is happening with our brand, because that's where, they get to know us, they get to trust us, they get to like us. It's almost like, and sometimes we get places, it's like people know who we are, but I've never met them. And that's the strength and the power of social media, social commerce, that, keyword social. Like, this is where everybody's socializing today, right here. Right here is where it's coming from. Like, in all those things that you guys do, people have access to every single one of those facets that you offer your clients right here.
Ty, 70% of people will believe what they read online without ever being close to the source or knowing the true facts about it. Wow. Meaning that if I wanted to be a disgruntled ex-employee, or if I was a competitor of yours, I could go on and leave a very negative review just to tarnish your reputation. And somebody that's not engaged with the business online and seeing other things in positive light might read that and just right away believe it. That's the power of social media. That's the power of needing to be engaged. And then, by the way, that's, anybody that would ever do that, shame on you. If you've done that, say a prayer for yourself that Jesus forgives you, because that's just bad, unethical practice to do. But if anything ever happens, and even when you get 5-star reviews, gang out there, always respond to it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Make sure you respond, because if you ever get a bad review for whatever reason, and if it's the best way to get rid of it is bury it. Bury it with more content. Apologize. Hey, we're really sorry for that experience. We did not know that was the situation. You could have called us. We'd be more than happy to come out and take a look at it and fix it at this moment. If I'm now reading that, I'm like, oh, well, they just said that must have been an accident. That thing's happened. Maybe it wasn't even true. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Social, you got to be out there.
Yeah, and it's how you handle those issues when they do come up. If you're doing anything, you're going to make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything. Yeah. And really, that's the bottom line. While
you're building your brand, the whole reason I brought that up was to say, don't be afraid to ask for reviews.
Yes.
Get them from your most closest colleagues and sphere of influence, but every customer you got, hey, would you mind doing me a huge favor? You'd really help me out in growing my business by providing me a 5-star review. Don't ask for a review, ask for a 5-star review. Because
Yeah.
if you didn't have a 5-star review, if you're not worthy, well, then let's not share that with the public, but let me know how I could make it 5-star. But when you
Yeah.
ask for 5-star, you'll get them, and then it builds up. That's going to separate you from your competition as well.
Absolutely. And referrals
Referrals.
is another. Don't be afraid to ask for the referral. Like,
Never.
hey, do you have an aunt, uncle, or anyone that you can refer me to? And that's where some of your pipeline should come from, with people checking
Absolutely.
out your reviews, reading your reviews, but also asking for the referral. That's a big thing. So before we wrap this up, and you kind of started to touch on these nuggets here that you want, leave our guests and our listeners with. If I wanted to start marketing today with a shoestring budget, what would I do, man? What would you do? Right? Being in the position, seeing everything that you've ever saw, like, let the cat out of the bag for us here a little bit.
So here's exactly what I would do. And I'm going to give my company a shameless little plug here, because when you hear the USA Today, you might think, oh my gosh, thousands of dollars a month. No, there's a couple basic things that you as any business needs to do. And I'm speaking from a business owner standpoint now, because I've owned businesses in my life. Mike Love Entertainment, Pharma Free Remedies. I know what works, and I've learned from my own marketing training and experience to how to do that in-house. So here's what I'd tell you what to do. First and foremost, if you don't have a website, you need social presence, so we'll go there. But there's businesses out there that are using their Facebook page as a website. You got to get a website. It's great that you've got a Facebook page. I'm not saying that that's not going to work for you, but maybe you're getting all that you want to get, and that's why you'd stay there. But you need a website as well, because that's one of those things that the spider bots and the search engines and the algorithms are checking boxes all from. If you don't have a .com site or a .net site or something like that, that's an automatic ding, bumps you down above other businesses that have the social media and the website. Websites can be free. There's a lot of free templated websites where you can just have 5 pages or less. And though you might not be able to do it, I would encourage you to get a website. There's people out there that can help you. Now, here's the basics of what you need to do. I already mentioned earlier, take advantage of the free profiles that you can create. I would start with Facebook posts, share on Instagram, and vice versa, right? So you got Facebook, Instagram, get yourself a YouTube profile, get yourself a TikTok profile, get yourself a Snapchat profile. These are all business profiles now, not personal, but business profiles. Listen, you might not be able to keep up with putting content on all of them, but as long as you focus on your Facebook and your Instagram photos and the 5 days or 7 days a week that, Ty was mentioning earlier, that's going to give you some relevancy. Why the other profiles? That's because when those algorithms are looking, it's going to see if you've got a presence, first of all. At least you've got a profile on there. And as you grow and build your business, this is what I did. I didn't have content yet, but I put those logos on my business card and my website so that there were links to go there. So I had a page that was set up that was specific because I was trying to build the brand. The content, we'll add to it. We'll get it there. But this is all stuff that is free right now that I'm telling you that you can do. The next most important thing that you should do, and this is where local IQ comes in, and you should talk to me seriously. We've got a very low cost for less than $200 a month. Actually, for less than $100, you can knock out one of these things. You need to have consistency among not only Google and Facebook, but there's a plethora of other search engines that you may or may not have ever heard of, or ones that you never frequent. Beyond the Bing, beyond the Yahoos, beyond the Yelps, beyond the city searches of the world and Foursquares and all, there's a ton of different search engines. When you have a presence on all of those and your name, address, and phone number is the same, and you can't do this by yourself. You're going to get to a certain point, and I did this trial and error. Spent a whole Saturday morning trying to put profiles in. Some of them you got to go through verifications. You need to jump through this hoop. There's a low-cost search engine optimization piece that you can get that will organically help you. It'll claim your Google business as well as all of these other search engines, and it will help to get you on the map, but give you some organic traction as well, because you can add photos to it, free. You can add content to it in posts, free. You know what I'm saying? And then you just start to share it. But those things, literally for less than $100 a month, I have a program. It's called a local listings claiming that will put you in the eyes of Google better than you're at now, but to help you consistently start to grow your local organic traffic first. And then you can always grow and then branch out to some Google paid AdWords or a targeted email blast. You know what I mean? Some different things of that nature as you grow. You can make your own videos with your cell phone and a camera. They might not be high quality, but these cell phones now have 12 megapixel or better cameras. Make a short 15-second video, personalize it, post it just every once in a while. These are all free things that you can do. That's what I would say, Ty.
No, I love that. I love that. And just so anyone listening out there, I want them to know that we use Local IQ as well, as many other people probably across the country. But I just wanted to throw that out there that we trust and have trusted. And one of the reasons why we do it is because the reach that you guys have and the amount of people and touch points that you have access to, we can't reach that ourselves. So we need help. We need a little, little juice, from
Sure.
a higher power as Local IQ to get out there and really reach these people, not during normal business hours either, but as we're sleeping. Like we need someone behind the scenes. We just need that engine back there to help us make that splash, create that omnipresence, create those touch points. But I love how you said all of those things in the beginning. It's free. This is free. This free. And what it requires is some elbow grease, right? Like, and that, I think that's probably some of the difference. But if anybody was, that really wants to start out, or maybe you have been in business for a year and don't understand like why your phone's not ringing right now. Well, it's probably 80% of what you just mentioned, Mike. It's because they didn't create like a business profile on social media, or maybe they did, but it's just been sitting there and they don't even have any reviews. How hard would it be to ask your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, anybody that has received any type of service from you, to ask them to go out and put, a review? Like you have probably 1,000 contacts in your phone that you've probably touched their house or their home or their computer or whatever industry that you're in. To ask them like, hey, remember about a year ago, that I come by and I mowed your grass for you that one time. Well, I decided to go out in business for my own. Would you mind going on to my social media platform? And this is the other thing too. It's real super simple to copy and paste the link and send the text message to somebody and like, hey, this takes you to my website. Do you mind giving me a Google review? Boom. And I'm not saying get fake ones. You know what I mean? But like, if you're asking your coworkers or your teammates for it, like, I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking you to say how wonderful this place is to work for. Yeah. Things like that, because people like to see those reviews too. Like, oh my God, they got such a great culture, such a great company over there. These are the people that I want to put the roof on my house because they seem to love what they do and they love each other. Yeah.
You just reminded me of something too. Put the QR code. QR codes are free. You get one QR code. I put it on my business cards and I put that at the bottom, and then ask your customers. And it even says, if I don't get a chance to speak to them, please scan this and leave a 5-star review for me to help my business grow. Mention that to them, and all they got to do, it's the phone. It goes right to your Google page, and all they got to do is leave the review. Hey, I want to thank you for your business and partnership. Because I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to continued growth for you and being a part of that with Local IQ. So thanks again.
We appreciate everything that you guys ever done. I know when we met David that you were in the background there and we got to visit with each other. I think it was actually at the York Revolution game there, but we've always trusted, hey, we know you, we trust you, and we like you. Being a consumer. Yeah, that's why we went with Local IQ, because we liked David, we liked you, we trusted David, we trusted you, and we know you guys at this point.
I appreciate that very much. Hey, I want to offer this. I want to offer this to you too. For any of your fellow businesses out there, networking partners that if anybody is interested in anything that I just shared at the end and what Ty said, we have a very proprietary platform of software. It's free of charge. I can run a free, what we call an audit report of your business. Can even plug in a competitor if you want, but it's going to share some really cool nuggets of information of where you're doing good, where you could use a little bit of help, where you're completely missing, and it's completely free. But I'd be more than happy to discuss those things with you and see if there's anything that I can do, whether free information or any kind of other solution that you might want to try to shift your marketing dollars. But again, this free digital audit report for you, reach out to Ty and let him know. Ty, you guys can just let me know, and I'll connect. But for that referral right there, I'm going to throw that out, and I would be more than happy to do that.
That's awesome, man. That was such a great conversation. What an awesome episode. Mike, thank you for your time. I know you're extremely busy. So thank you for carving out this hour or so of your time, your life with us. Thank you for everybody for tuning in today. If you didn't get to catch the first half of this, please check us out on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, Spotify, Google, or Apple Play at your earliest convenience. And if you haven't already, like, love, or subscribe to any of those outlets where you are enjoy listening to hopefully our podcast. So until next time, episode 136, our next guest will be RD Saunders, who I believe is one of our, he actually married Jana and I in Punta Cana a couple years ago. He is a mentor of mine. He is in the regime of the John Maxwell Foundation. He's actually, I believe, the president or vice president of the John Maxwell Foundation as far as their nonprofit side. So anyhow, until then, you guys have a great week and enjoy this wonderful weather. Mike, I will catch you soon, man. Thank you.
Sounds good, Ty. Thank you. Appreciate you having me. Take care.
You too.